Right, so moving on, let's have a look at some techniques to enumerate DNS servers. We're going to start off with a simple Windows Nslookup command. So I will type in Nslookup, which will put me into Nslookup interactive mode. Now you're going to see it's actually going to default to an external DNS server. So what I'm going to have to do is specify our target server, which is 192.168.109.190 to be the DNS server I want to focus on. And once I've done that, I can then do a ls -d and vernet.com as an example. And as you can see, this is then giving me a zoned transfer from the 192.168.109.190 server just by using the ls for list -d, the domain, and in this case it was the vernet.com. And this, as we found out earlier on from the SMTP banner dumping, is a Windows 2000 IIS system with, of course, Active Directory, DNS, and so forth. So this is showing us the service locator records for the specific services that this server has to offer. And if it's a domain controller, it will also list the services for itself and other domain controllers out there. But more specifically, if this is just a DNS server, these service locator records will be set up by Microsoft for the different services available in that Active Directory domain. So this was a very simple explanation and demonstration of using Nslookup. Right, so I want to show you a few more other examples, still using Backtrack, going into the enumeration directory as we were there already, and we can now go into the DNS directory, and we're going to go to the DNS, do an ls, and we're going to have a look at using DNS walk. Once I'm in the DNS walk directory, I can then initiate the DNS walk, which effectively is going to try and do zone transfers specifically against this domain. So I'm going to just press enter, give it a few minutes. While that's busy going through the vernet.com, this is an external DNS server, by the way, or domain. I'm going to have a look at using another script, which in this instance, it's in the DNS enum directory. And a lot of these automated scripts will have a readme.txt file, which you definitely want to go through. This is a relatively straightforward Perl script. In this example, we were just running the dnsenum.perl, giving a specific domain name, and then stipulating a dns.txt file. So still doing a lot more enumeration. It's looking at the name servers for the domain. It's going to try and do some zone transfers. And then it's also going to look up names from the dns.txt file to see if that has any of that information in its zones. So there's a lot of little different scripts that you can use within Backtrack. You can see it's now trying to get a zone transfer from the vernet.com servers. And in the meantime, we'll actually open up another shell. And this is something you might want to take note of, just resizing the actual font within the shell. Go to your settings, stipulate your font, select the size, and in my case I'm going to use 14, and then I'm going to go back to the pentest directory, enumeration, and then go back to DNS. So DNS walk has completed, and you can see it initially failed and then timed out, and then was able to tell us more information from this DNS server, giving you the start of authority, contact equals root dot, etc, 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 and being able to tell us that there is a vernet.com. There's also a www.vernet.com, and also mail.vernet.com, all external. So these automated scripts, as we all know, is going to help save you a lot of manual time. Right, so one of the other scripts in the same directory is the dnsenum.python, and then just stipulating the domain name. There you can see it's looking for MX records, the name server records, starting off with trying to do a zone transfer as well, and it will continue to go through some of the other scripted assessment techniques. So all in all, it should be very helpful to you all, folks.